Welcome to Ashman Battle Report number 3 for 3rd edition. This is the Goblins versus the Northern Alliance. 2,250 points. Scenario is control. The Battle of Goblin Pass, while not very significant by itself, is considered the beginning of the Northern Troll Wars. A narrow Northern Alliance victory only temporarily stopped the green tide. Okay, after I was editing the video, this came out corrupted, so I'm going to redo this part. My deployment was from right to left. I had a unit of Fleabag Riders with mop-ups, which I never used the mop-ups the entire battle. Then the Goblin King on his chariot, the captured Dwarf Gyrocopter, aka the Wing-It, had the upgrade of Eye in the Sky, a unit of Sharp Sticks with the Hammer of Measured Force, another unit of Sharp Sticks with the Staying Stone. In between those was the Big Rock Slobber. Then in the very middle of my line, there was a horde of Spitters. Behind them was a horde of Rabble. Then flanking them and protecting that, trying to protect the end of that unit, was my unit of Luggets. And they did not have mop-ups. I was looking on my sheet. So beside them was my new trombone unit and my mop-ups launcher. Behind the castle was the giant and the other Big Rock Slobber. I thought my deployment was okay based on the fact that he was far left. I had to start instantly shifting when I was deploying, shifting some units over there to defend it. But I had all my fast units up here on the right flank, and I was hoping that I could skirt around him very quickly and disrupt his lines. All right, I'm not exactly sure of everything in Craig's army. He deployed both units of trolls kind of in the middle with the Chimera behind him and the Troll King guy. In front of him, there's actually 3 units of Snow Foxes. The far unit on the end of the table is a horde of Clansmen. Behind the first unit of Snow Foxes up there is the House Carls, and then his 2 characters are with them. Right in the middle are the cavalry guys. I can't think of them. I'm sorry. Dragon Fang Riders or something like that that are flanking the trolls. And behind them is the Frost Giant brooding over the entire proceedings. But like I said, he is shaded way to my right. So I put all my fast stuff, the Wolf Riders, the Chariot, and the Wing-It, out here on my far right to try to get around him on his flank as quickly as possible. All right, the Northern Alliance got the first turn and advanced forward. They don't have really any spells, so the turns go really fast on the Northern Alliance side. The horde of Klansmen move forward. Beside them, the House Carls, the Frostbane Cavalry is what I think they're called. The unit of Trolls, the other unit of Trolls there, and the Snow Foxes kind of move forward to just mess with me and be chaff. Giant moved forward just a little bit as well, and that's pretty much the end of the turn. I was really I didn't really know how to deal with all the power in front of me, but I figured I better break them up on the next turn. Okay, for the Goblin's turn, I moved the Wing-It as far forward as I could get it and then pivoted, just marched him straight ahead. The Wolf Riders, who are incredibly fast, they whipped around the other end of the line, just basically doing the same thing, moving up, pivoting, and moving forward to threaten the flank of his trolls. The Stickers unit moved forward into that woods, figuring that's a pretty good place to make a stand against the trolls if they wanted to fight straight up. The my other units just kind of moved up. The Spitters, I moved to the top of the hill, and I absolutely knew they were going to get killed. But I had a trap planned behind the hill with my rabble, the trolls, and the Leggett gang. That was pretty much it for my turn. I did do a significant amount of damage in the shooting phase, thanks to the Wing-It spotting on the unit of trolls. I actually managed to do 6 wounds to them and wavered them. Also, the other shooting wavered the Frostbane cavalry. So on the very first turn of the game, I had him stopped up. All right, this is the view of the Northern Alliance army at the start of turn 2. The foxes had taken a couple of wounds on the right side. The Frostbane Cav and the unit of trolls that are in the woods were also wavered, so they could not do anything this turn. So let's see what happens when the movement starts. All right, so the Chimera and the Troll Horde charged and destroyed the Spitters in one go. I kind of figured that was going to happen. The Foxes moved up to protect both flanks of the flank of the Trolls and the flank of the Chimera. The Trolls in the woods just kind of turned toward everything so that they wouldn't get flank charged on the following turn. The Housecarls and the Clansmen moved forward to support the attack, and the Wolves kind of moved to, the Foxes kind of moved to keep my Giant from just charging straight into that unit of Clansmen. So still some early moves of the game. Lost one unit, but he's had a couple wavered, so feeling pretty good at this point. It could be a lot worse. All right, I did something here. I was pretty sure I could charge the Chimera with the Legate mob, but what I did is I went ahead and just cleared out by backing the rabble out of the way, and then backing the trolls first and the rabble, and then moving the magic user out so that I had a for sure clean charge against the Chimera with the Legates, and through Bane Chan on the Legates, and that was going to make a credible threat to the Chimera. The Giant went ahead and charged the Housecarls. I knew I was dead, but I couldn't figure out anything else to do, so I just kind of sacrificed him to slow up their attack on that flank. And the Spitters, without the measured force, went ahead and charged those Foxes to open up the flank on that on those Trolls, since they were just standing there on top of the hill. And everything else just kind of moved forward. The Wing It moved around the flank and started dropping grenades on the Trolls. And I did it out of sequence because I'd already rolled their morale check, but Craig allowed me to go ahead and do the extra damage. So I had them up to 10, but they weren't wavered because, like I said, I'd already rolled the morale test. But they were severely wounded at this point in time. So the good part about the turn is the Chimera was wavered and couldn't do anything to me on the next turn. So this is the retribution turn for the Northern Alliance. The Giant, unfortunately, gets flank charged by that huge-ass clan of Klansmen, and the Housecarls are in the front. The Giant gets one shot at this turn. The Trolls charge down the hill into the rabble, and felt pretty good. Craig made a point of being +1 to damage me, but I was already, getting wounded on anything but. The Giant charges in with the Frostfang cavalry into the Spitters, and these are the ones without measured force. The other unit of Trolls charges into the guys in the woods there, the sharp sticks, and these do have the hammer of measured force, which of course I probably forgot, knowing me. And that's what happened this turn. All my units held except the Giant, who was totally butchered by the huge amount of attacks from the Northern Alliance. Here you can see the effects of this turn. The Giant's gone. Those other units start angling toward to roll up my line on that end. The Snow Foxes have wiped out my Rock Lobber. The Giant's gone. So basically I have no left flank at all. On the other hand, I have a lot of pressure on his left flank as well. So we're turning like a big corkscrew in the middle of the table here, trying to get position on each other. Okay, my turn. I took Bane Chant on the Luggets, and they destroyed the Wyvern. That was good to get that guy out of the way. All they could really do, though, was face toward the House Carls and wait for their inevitable death. The stickers right in the middle, they had destroyed the Frostbane Cab, and they had destroyed the wolves. I'm sorry, the foxes the turn before. So they were stuck fighting the giant. The other unit of stickers and the Wolf Riders had destroyed that unit of trolls. It was highly wounded, but the all the crushing charge from the Wolf Riders in the flank was enough to get rid of that unit. Okay, this is just the final position on my right flank. As you can see, the giant is the only survivor so far of this melee. The Troll Lord, he is in bad shape just because there's so many units that can either charge or shoot him on the following turn. So he's going to have to do something, make a decision on what he wants to do. Just want to show you the extreme left flank so that you kind of know what's going on. The Klansmen, the Foxes, and the Housecarls are starting to move toward the end of my lines. You can see my war trombone made it out of some goblins and then put some old Empire arquebuses, blunderbusses in their hands for a unit. And that's also my mop-up launcher, which is also an old Empire mortar with a squig glued to it. And then behind them is my magic user that has the inspiring talisman. I could not let him get injured because I needed him to hold up that flank as long as possible. All right, here's the his next turn. He charges the Frost Giant into the stickers in front of him. I actually think he could have backed off an inch and maybe charged that other unit in the flank, but now that I look at it, it probably could not happen either because I don't think he had line of sight to their flank. May be wrong. After he backed up an inch, he may have had that and just could catch that corner there, but I don't know. The Troll Warlord charges the Goblin Wolf Riders and bounces off of them. Then we'll see what's happening on the rest of the battle. Okay, this is the last photo of the battle. The House Carls had charged into the Luggets, and you can see right there that they had taken 13 wounds, and unfortunately they were snake-eyed, and so then they're stuck right there in front of everything. The Trolls and the Rabble had charged into the other unit of Trolls, and this turn they killed it off. The stickers in the foreground charged into the giant. They've only taken 8 wounds from the giant, rolling really, really bad. Some really, really bad dice, and so didn't really do anything. The other unit of stickers flank charged the Troll Lord and killed him this turn, and with really no way to stop me from controlling the middle of the table, Craig just called it. So, I mean, I had units that could go basically anywhere on the table and take up enough objectives to win. So I just want to do my afterthoughts of the battle. A couple of things changed from my previous list. First, I dropped the bolt thrower, ballista, whatever you call it, and went for a unit of war trombones. And that was to protect the short gap, you know, from them getting too close to my rock lobbers. And I thought if I had something in that gap last time, it would have made a huge difference. The next thing I got rid of was I got rid of my Fleabag Sniffs and replaced them and just jiggled some points around to get a wing it. And that was to spot for my artillery and also to harass the other army, since the Goblins don't have any flyers except for the wing it. And a wing it's so cheap, I thought it was a pretty good addition to the list. Busted up my old dwarf gyrocopter and I made the wing it out of it. So I repainted it with some goblin-y colors, and while it still doesn't look very good, it doesn't look horrible. So, and it also lets you know what you're actually using. As far as the rest of the army, it really performed well. I mean, I really like the wizard spam with the one with insatiable the flag it with insatiable darkness, the wizard with Bane Chant, and then another wizard with the boomstick and he's basically the missile wizard. And the last wizard has the Inspiring Talisman and has Bane Chant. So kind of spam the Bane Chant, and plus I have the lightning bolts from the 3 magic users to cause some damage. As far as the stars of the list, the Like It Gang is such a good idea. I mean, I probably should figure out how to take another one and dump one of the hordes maybe and take them, but I really like them to hold them back and charge in after somebody has got stuck into those stickers. Same thing with the trolls. I've never thought of trolls or any of the 4+ infantry as a frontline troop. I've always thought of them being a second line troop because, I mean, they won't break a horde like another horde will. I mean, they could get lucky and do it, but most of the time they're going to get into melee and get stuck because they don't hit enough times, even though they do a devastating amount of damage. So the worst thing that can happen to your 4+ infantry, I believe, is to get stuck fighting a horde of worthless stuff. The best thing that can happen to them is they get them to fight other elite units where their damage output is very high. So I mean, that's my idea with the trolls. I use them as, like I said, in the more of a countercharge role, especially when something big is broken through the lines. Now I have something to maybe do some damage to them as well. The Wing It and the 2 big rock slobbers was very good. I mean, on the first turn of the game, wavered 2 very significant units of his army. The trolls that were in the woods and the Frostbane cavalry before he really even got moving. So the shooting that I had in the list, while not overpowering, very well helped out. I mean, it could have just as easily not done a darn thing, but I like having the 2 rock slobbers, and they're especially good against elite units. I mean, if you're shooting them at a horde, probably not going to do much. But being able to shoot at them at knights or trolls or giants or something that has that's fairly elite, I think is a really good thing. I mean, they could have just as easily loaded up on the Housecarls and the Clansmen and did very well. The last game, I put 10 wounds on the Clansmen on the first turn of the game before they really got moving. And so that little bit of shooting, it's not a huge amount, but it has helped a lot. And, you know, the people that, I'm one of the people that say shooting has been nerfed, but I really think that they've made artillery shooting at least decent. So I don't think I would leave home without the 2 big rock slobbers now and the Wing It. I think that's just a good combination that I can't say enough about how much damage and disruption they cause. The other thing that they do is it keeps the other person from hanging back and deciding to charge later, you know, try to develop things, because they hang back. The more they hang back, then the more turns they're going to get pounded. And the Wing It's attack with its grenades is very, very good too. So getting them around on a flank and then just start pounding them with the grenades, you can treat wounds very, very quickly with that unit. And it's so hard to catch because it being nimble and everything. It's just a matter of being patient, though, to find that niche in the line, that crack where you could get him through without him getting charged by something else. So, like I said, the Wing It, definitely a keep forever in my army choice. As far as the Northern Alliance army, I think it would have been a better army to fight other elite troops, much more so than fighting just hordes of nothing. The 2 units that I think would excel at just slaughtering my army is if he had another unit of Klansmen and another unit of Housecarls. Those units, I mean, they will just mow other infantry regiments down like chaff. So I think maybe in the army composition, it'd be better just to have a few more troops. And but we were talking about the troll wars, and so that was part of our theme. And so I had 1 unit of trolls on the table, and he had 2, and the Troll King. So kind of neat. I mean, our idea of a set scenario, we'll try to do it, and maybe next time I'll change mine up a little bit to be a different type of force, since I have plenty of models to do things. So anyway, Northern Alliance, the army is rock solid. It's just I don't know that I just think that it would be better off with more hordes of just infantry and less on the big stuff, except maybe the Frostbane Cav, you know, supporting the infantry, kind of like you play Kingdoms of Men. Chimera, it is a tough son of a gun. Frost Giant, not as impressed with, but the Chimera, it does some serious damage, and you cannot mess around with that silly thing.